Let's talk a little bit about overtime. Yeah, overtime. The Vancouver Canucks lost another game last night, and that's not gonna be the topic. We're not doing a game review. I was just kind of done after the game. I was like, okay, there's a lot of negative energy built up within me right now. You know, it's not probably the best idea to let that all unleash so I can look upon that later in the week and just be like, damn, what am I doing? So I didn't make a video about that. Instead, we're making a video specifically about the idea of overtime and the Vancouver Canucks. Because to me, this team hasn't been the best in overtime. And that's not even with a small sample size. Right now, for the 2019-20 season, the Vancouver Canucks have played 5 games that have gone to overtime. 3 of them went to a shootout, 2 of them the Canucks won in the shootout, 1 of them they lost in the shootout. But the Vancouver Canucks have lost the most previous 2 games that they've played in overtime, off of some really weird plays. Against the Anaheim Ducks, there was a breakaway for Ryan Getzlaf, and it wasn't even really a breakaway. Getzlaf didn't have the puck, but instead, he was chasing after the puck as it was going towards the Canucks' end. Markstrom started to chase it too, and it didn't pay off. He was way out of his net, and Getzlaf had the open cage to shoot and score at. Last night, we all know what happened. Tyler Myers takes a shot wide, it ricochets all the way out to the Canucks zone, and then, for some reason, JT Miller is down there. He's down low, he skates backwards behind the goal line, he trips over Myers, who's ducking to get underneath him just so he doesn't trip his own guy, which doesn't work. Bo Horvat, who brought the puck into the zone, is behind the goal line too, so all of a sudden it's a 3-on-0. It was terrible. Shen to Pietrangelo to Schwartz, and past Markstrom, he broke his stick. It was very, very, very understandable why he would do that. But the Vancouver Canucks just haven't had the best showing in overtime recently. And I don't think it just goes for these past 2 games. The Vancouver Canucks haven't won a single game in overtime. They've won a few in the shootout, but that's kind of what it feels like the Canucks are doing so far. Throughout these overtime games that they've played, can you really say that this team has looked as dangerous as it did last year? Last year, the Vancouver Canucks played 12 games that were decided in overtime, 7 of which were won by the Canucks. So last year, this team was actually productive in overtime. This year, it doesn't look like that production is there. And a lot of that has to do with the way the lines are being rolled out, and honestly, the strategies being used in 3-on-3. In my opinion, the Canucks this season haven't had the best showings in overtime, and that's not just depicted by their wins and losses category. Even in the games where they go to the shootouts, it doesn't really feel like the Canucks have had a great chance to end things in overtime. To me, watching these games, it looks like the Canucks are just trying to get these games to a shootout, and it all boils down to difference in philosophy here, whether or not you believe that's a good thing to do because you're like, okay, the Canucks have a better chance to win if it's in the shootout. Statistics say that they're really good in that shootout. Or is it a better philosophy to say, okay, we have the opportunity to win now, let's go all out and try to win now? Now, that's not me saying that the Canucks haven't been going all out in these overtime periods that they've played, but it's me saying that they haven't been good. These lines haven't been meshing to the best of their abilities. I love Petey, I love Brock, and I love Hughes. But having these 3 on the ice, it hasn't been as productive as we would have liked. Having Bo Horvat and JT Miller as a pairing, honestly, hasn't been the best either. We saw in the past game yesterday that this pairing really didn't have their chemistry sorted out, and it ended up in a really bad 3-0 for the Blues. Now, maybe I'm just sitting here cherry-picking. Maybe I'm sitting here because I'm crazy and because I'm irrational and I just can't get enough of talking about this team in this way. But can you tell me that I'm wrong? Can you legitimately say that this team has been good in overtime? Sure, the Anaheim game wasn't amazing with the way it ended with Markey coming out on that breakaway, but still, the Ducks got a breakaway. The Vancouver Canucks haven't been doing a good job at containing these odd man rushes and these really high scoring opportunities for the other teams in these extra frames. That's why they haven't had a win yet. And when they don't give these great opportunities and they find a way to buckle things down, it just goes to a shootout because the Canucks scoring up front can't get it done on 3-on-3. So I want your opinions, your thoughts. Comment down below in the comments. Am I overreacting? Has this overtime segment for the Canucks this year been as bad as I'm saying it is? And furthermore, if it is, then what are improvements that we can make? Do we split up Horvat and Miller? Do we put Horvat with a Boeser or put Horvat with a Virtanen because the playstyles have meshed in the past before? Because in my opinion, Horvat and Miller isn't as great as it is 5-on-5 or 5-on-4 as it is in 3-on-3. On 3-on-3, it's not as good as I believe it could be. Am I overreacting to this, or am I completely justified in what I'm saying? Because this team, to me, hasn't been showcasing the necessary talents that it needs to win in these overtime periods. They're just trying to go to a shootout. I just don't think that the team has been in a good position to say, yeah, they've been giving themselves a good chance to win games in overtime. Because I'd be lying if I said they were. So comment down what you think. Am I overreacting? Has this team been actually great in overtime, but they just haven't been getting the chances? Or am I completely understandable in my point? Tell me, please. I think I'm crazy right now because I'm coming off of a few hours of sleep. I have a few things I have to do for school today, and all I'm doing is sitting here thinking about the Vancouver Canucks' really bad overtime finish yesterday. It's awesome being a Canucks fan, and albeit all joking aside, it's actually really awesome to look at the Canucks and be frustrated at a game like that because, sure, they still got a point, but everybody is frustrated because they know the Canucks can do better than this. And that ultimately, in my opinion, is the best indicator of a team that's competitive, especially for a team that's doing as well as the Canucks have been doing. We all know that they're capable of being better than the team that we've seen in overtime in the past few games, but we're going to need some work. I think so. Hope you enjoyed this video. Social Cyanide. And bye.